So you're thinking about becoming a barber. Here are some things that you should know before you get started. Now, I wish that someone had told me these things before I started because it would have helped me figure out things so much quicker. Now, when you first get started, the pay is going to be poor. You're going to be doing a lot of free haircuts. One, you're not going to be very good, and two, people aren't going to trust you. So I would say do as many free haircuts on friends, family, whoever will let you cut their hair, but don't expect to be getting paid a lot. When I first started, my haircuts were free, but I was saying tips are welcome. So I was getting like between £5 and £10 a haircut. Each haircut was taking me around an hour and a half to do, and they weren't great. But it's a numbers game. So the more haircuts you can do, obviously, the better that you're going to get. The full-time job at the moment, it's probably a good idea to keep that and just do barbering on the weekends or in the evenings, just while you're getting built up. Also, go in and speak to barbershops. Even if they'll just let you come in and watch them cutting hair, that's going to be a great help for you because you'll get the vibe of how a shop works and just see the runnings of it and the day in day out. It's all about building up rapport with people. That includes barbershop owners. So if you can find a shop which will let you go in there, get friendly with the owner, get friendly with some of the barbers in there, they'll want to teach you, and it might be a good foot in the door later on. When I first started, I remember I finished my course, which was 3 months long, and I thought I knew everything. I knew nothing, it turns out. I went around all of the shops in my local town, asked them for a job. Nobody would give me a job. Like, I literally went in every single barber shop in my local town, and not one person would give me a job. I then had to expand out a bit further, so I ended up going to a small town, or an even smaller town outside of my hometown. There was only one guy there that was willing to give me a chance. Shout outs to Andy. It was a £6 chop shop. It wasn't what I wanted to be doing. I was looking at all these guys on Instagram. They were doing all these like cool fades and these like crazy styles. But the shop that I was in, it was mainly pensioners. But that's where you need to start. The people that you're seeing on Instagram, these guys, they've started at the bottom and worked up. They didn't start off doing all these like crispy fades and all these crazy patterns and like amazing styles that you see on there. So yeah, try not to get too discouraged at the start. You're going to be cutting a lot of kids and you're going to be cutting a lot of pensioners. Get the basics down is what I would say. Learn your tools, learn your clippers, learn your scissors, get to know them. This one sounds pretty obvious. You are going to be covered in hair all of the time. A lot of people say, oh, I hate it after a haircut because I'm all itchy and there's hair everywhere. That is what you're going to be like day in, day out. Hair over your clothes. Shoes is the one. I recommend wearing some kind of shoe which doesn't sort of have laces. I like to wear boots when I'm cutting hair because the hair kind of just hits the boot and falls off. Whereas if you've got laces, the hairs like sit on and then they end up like working their way like through into the laces and just ruin your shoes basically. So I see a lot of people online, like they're wearing like really nice like Air Jordans and just cool trainers. And I just think it's a good way to just ruin nice shoes. So yeah, just get some work shoes. Get something that you're comfortable for standing up in. At the moment, I'm wearing Skechers because they've got the memory foam pad thing. They've got the arch support in there. You're standing up all day. You're going to want something comfortable. Hair splinters. Yes, these are a thing. So little tiny hairs that kind of embed themselves anywhere in your skin. I've had them in my gums, I've had them in my hands, I've had them in my feet. My wife, she's also a hairdresser. She had one in her back that I pulled out. They just get absolutely everywhere. So a good little pair of tweezers is always good. Pull them out and it's done. You leave them in there, they might get infected. Generally, you'll know if it's in there. It feels like a little tiny like pinprick. Someone's just poking you with it continuously, so you'll know it's in there. So yeah, be aware of that. You don't need to buy expensive tools. When you get started, I would recommend getting a pair of clippers and a pair of scissors for a reasonable price. And by a reasonable price, I mean you want to be spending around 100 to maybe 120 quid on a pair of clippers. And with the scissors, again, I would say you want to be spending between 50 and 100 for your first set of tools because you're not sure whether you're actually going to like this job or not. I've seen people come in, spend loads of money on high-end scissors, like, you know, really expensive clippers, combs. They've just really kitted themselves out. And 6 months later, they're not cutting hair anymore because they've decided that they don't like it. So yeah, just get some entry-level, decent clippers, decent scissors. The Wild Magic clips or the Wild Seniors, they are great clippers to get started with. I'll leave a link for them down below where you can buy them. And scissor-wise, there are so many out there. So yeah, I use a brand called Hunt and Hustle. They're a little independent brand. They're not stupidly expensive. They do a set of the thinning scissors and just the normal cutting scissors or shears, wherever you're from, whatever you want to call them, for about 150 quid for both sets, which is pretty damn reasonable to get started. If you then decide that you're enjoying barbering and you want to get some better tools, I would definitely recommend doing your homework, trying out a few things, going to trade events. That's always a good thing to do, especially with the scissors, because you look online and you just don't know. They all just look like scissors, right? But when you go to the trade events, they have these like big walls out and they've got all the scissors on display. You can pick them up, you can play with them, feel with them. Another thing, we've got YouTube at our fingertips. There's going to be thousands of reviews of clippers. There's thousands of reviews of scissors. Just do your homework, guys, if you're going to go further with it. How do you actually get started as a barber? I would say there's probably three main ways that people go about doing it. The first way is apprenticeship, which is where you get in a shop and you get trained up by the owner or the barbers within that shop. You don't really see that done as much anymore. Big part of it is shop owners and barbers tend to train up new barbers, and then once they're trained up, they sort of decide that they're going to leave and go to another shop. So it's almost not worth the time investment for the owner, but it is doable. You do see apprenticeships happening still, but they're not as common. The most common way is to pay for a course. Now, there are so many courses out there nowadays. One of the most popular ones that I always hear about is the London School of Barbering. They teach you the real basics, starting off on the doll's heads, you do some like theory stuff, and by the end of it, you are cutting on actual people. Now, I'm not 100% sure how much these courses cost. I think they're around, well, I paid around £3,000 for a 3-month course. It might be even more nowadays, but have a look in your local area. There might be some barber schools closer to you than London. But the good thing about these courses is that they're full-time, so you can go there full-time for 3 months, and it's quite intensive. So you're kind of like living and breathing barbering, which is what you need to be doing if you want to get into it. The other way that you can do is self-taught. So this is just where you figure it out as you go along. It's probably going to be the slower way to do it. You're probably going to mess up more doing it that way. Better if you can be there with someone who's got experience and they know what they're doing, so they can point you in the right direction, show you where you're going wrong, and you're just going to improve quicker if you're working with an experienced barber. Now, even if you're doing any of those 3 ways of learning, I would highly recommend just, again, using YouTube. There are thousands of haircutting tutorials. You're trying to get your basic short back and sides down, just check out YouTube. There is going to be so many on there. There's lots of people with lots of different teaching styles on there. There's a guy that I could really recommend, a Scottish guy. They're called the 1 Minute Barber. He has got a wide range of free haircutting tutorials. The hours are going to be very unsociable at the start. People are going to want haircuts after work. They're going to want haircuts on the weekend and early morning. So the time when everyone's at work, like the 9 to 5, to start with, you ain't going to be busy. You maybe get 1 or 2 on your lunch break. Yeah, you need to be okay with working those unsociable hours. You might need to give up some Friday nights. You might need to give up some Saturday daytimes. This is just what we do as barbers. We're not in the clubs. We're not in the pub every Friday night. We're the people that get the people ready to go and do these things. I highly recommend barbering as a career. Just to give you some sort of idea, once you are up and rolling, I've been doing it for 10 years now. I'm at the point where I am fully booked every single day. And just to give you an idea, I took home around £45,000 last year. So it can be really good money once you're built up. It does take a while to get there. If you're trying to attract more clients and more customers, make sure you check out my video, which is how to build your clientele. This is going to work for barbers that are complete beginners, and this will also work for barbers who are experienced as well. If you're just looking to build your clientele up a bit more, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. Got a lot more content like this on the way. Make sure you give the video a big thumbs up. That really helps small creators like me. If you have any questions about getting started as a barber, or you want any help with anything barbering related, please leave a comment in the section down below and I will get back to you. Right, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next video.